The move of the collection of the National Museum of the American Indian from the Research Branch, known as the RB, in the Bronx, New York, to the Cultural Resources Center, or CRC, in Suitland, Maryland, has been a 5-year project involving up to 70 staff and contractors and the cooperation of numerous other museum staff members. At the end of the project, more than 800,000 objects will have been permanently relocated in the new purpose-built facility where they will be far more accessible for research and other purposes. While there is infinite variation in details relating to this diverse collection, the movement of any given object follows a generally linear path involving registration, conservation, imaging, packing, transportation, unpacking, housing, and shelving. The following narrative will outline this process based on the example of one Shipibo carving representing a typical case. The registration department is responsible for retrieving objects from their storage locations and for tracking them throughout the move. This process uses 5 types of barcodes. Object barcodes contain the object number, identification, item count, culture, and/or provenance. Registration staff generates the barcodes, which are printed on archival tags that will withstand frequent handling. Barcodes are printed in batches depending on the objects to be moved that day. 2 copies of each barcode are printed to facilitate the work of the imagers later in the move process. Objects are retrieved from storage locations based on the order in which they will be shelved at the CRC. The Research Branch storage vaults are dark, crowded, and have narrow aisles, making object removal a challenge, especially when objects or drawers are heavy or awkward. Before removing objects from storage, registration staff assess the general condition of each object and determine how it can be most safely handled. Drawers of objects are removed to a registration workstation. Each object is assessed again for handling needs and placed on an appropriate tray or pallet. The purpose of the support is to prevent damage to fragile objects by minimizing handling. This Shipibo figure is lightweight and structurally stable. It can go in a tray with a beanbag to prevent it from rolling. Staff locate the number on each object and verify the count and culture in order to associate the printed barcode with the correct object. The barcodes will not be physically attached to the object, but are kept in close proximity throughout the move. When information on the barcode does not correspond with what is retrieved from storage, most corrections can be made at the workstation using the registration database. The supported objects with their barcodes are arranged by both culture and size on multi-tier carts. These carry objects safely and efficiently through the move line from station to station. Each culture group from a vault is assigned a group number to help track progress through the vault and keep affiliated material together. After registration tasks are complete, the entire cart is transferred to the conservation cleaning station on the move line. Conservation assesses the needs of each object arriving on the cleaning line to specifically implement strategies for its safe travel. Before beginning work on an object, Conservation verifies that the number on the barcode corresponds to the number on the object. Next, Overall condition and stability are assessed based on the potential for loss and damage throughout the move process. The cleaner must identify and evaluate structural and surface issues to determine if or how the object can pass safely through the move line. Most often, any necessary stabilization treatment and documentation is minor and can be conducted on the move line. Objects requiring involved conservation treatments are removed from the overall move flow so that they may be treated in the lab. Even when no active treatment is needed, notes written on green color paper are attached to the barcode detailing specific condition problems or suggesting the best way to safely handle the item. After thorough examination, the object is vacuumed using a Nilfisk HEPA vacuum cleaner with variable suction. Vacuuming removes surface dust and dirt accumulated during storage and prevents it from being ground into the object's surface during the move. Casings, webbing, and frass from past infestations are removed as much as possible. After cleaning, an appropriate pest management method is assigned. Pest management decisions are essential to prevent transferring active infestations into the new facility. Information indicating the selected processes is conveyed using labels attached to the object's barcode with a plastic clip. 4 processes are currently in use for reducing the risk of pest infestations in the collection. Each method has benefits and drawbacks, but the safety of the object is the first priority. Low temperature treatment in a freezer is the method most commonly used, as it is the most efficient in the cost and time of the procedure and associated labor. Low oxygen carbon dioxide treatment is used for objects not appropriate for freezing. Fumigation using the sulfuryl fluoride product Vicane is used for hardy objects too large for the freezer or the carbon dioxide chamber. Finally, inspection and monitoring are used for objects that do not require a more active approach or when the other methods are not appropriate. The wood Shipibo figure is sound and the paint is stable. This object can safely be frozen. Before returning the object to the cart, the cleaner evaluates whether the object needs any support in addition to or instead of what has already been provided by registration. Once conservation has completed all the objects on a cart, it is ready for imaging. Each cart has a set of signs that flip down to indicate where the objects are in the overall move process. The cleaned, ready for photo sign is chosen, and the cart is moved outside the photographer's workstation. The imaging department is responsible for taking a digital image of each object or group of objects and organizing the resulting digital files. From each TIFF image taken by the imaging department, a smaller JPEG file is generated that is transferred to the registration department for use in its database and as a condition record during the transfer from the RB to the CRC. The high-resolution TIFF images are organized and burned onto DVD-RAM media for archiving and other uses. This minimizes the need for future handling by staff and researchers and facilitates future publications. The MOVE workflow requires a balance between quality and speed in imaging the collection. In order to meet the MOVE needs, a camera and setup have been chosen that minimize the time spent on each object while maximizing image standardization and quality. Imagers work closely with conservators and collection staff to optimize careful handling of objects as they move through the imaging station on the move line. Before imaging any object, the barcode and any attached notes are checked. The 2 duplicate barcode labels are separated along their perforation. One label remains with the object en route to long-term storage at the CRC. The other is attached to a list of the day's imaging which corresponds numerically to the sequence in which objects are photographed. The imager places the object on the imaging table, and the shot is then captured to the computer. After the imaging is complete, it is carefully replaced on its support and returned to the cart. When an entire cart is completed, the photographed, ready-to-be-packed sign is flipped over, and the cart is taken to the collections area, ready for packing. The collections department is principally responsible for packing objects and ensuring their safe travel from the RB to the CRC. Sorting objects is an essential first step in packing. Objects are sorted first by culture group to allow for easy rehousing at the CRC. Within a culture, objects are then sorted by pest management classification, size, and quantity. Ultimately, the object's actual physical needs determine its packing system. The MOVE has established a number of standard packing techniques that meet the needs for most of the collection. Before packing, the barcode information and any attached notes are checked again. The system selected for the Shipipo objects is called a saddle mount system. A sheet of soft Tyvek separates the objects from the cardboard. Objects of similar weight are placed to best utilize space, and the barcodes are placed alongside. A layer of thin, high-density polyethylene that conforms to the shape of the object is placed over the objects. This separates them from the linear, low-density polyethylene stretch wrap that secures them to the mount. Placing the packing mount on a stand facilitates this stretch wrapping. During the wrapping, Ethafoam blocks are used as separators between objects. The use of these transparent materials both secures the objects and keeps them visible, which is helpful at the unpacking stage. The barcodes are secured on the outside of the packing material so that they are clearly associated with their objects. The cardboard saddle mounts are prefabricated to fit the base dimensions and height of our standard packing boxes. This allows the closed box flaps to secure the mount without any additional packing material. At this stage in the MOVE process, the other types of barcodes produced by registration begin to be used for tracking purposes. A box label is written, which includes the box barcode, the pest management status, and the contents. This label is attached to the outside of the box. Each packer has a name barcode that is scanned upon completion of a box. The box barcode is scanned, and each of the objects is then scanned to complete the tracking record. The box is closed and taped shut. The pest management system designated for these objects is freezing. Therefore, the box must be sealed in polyethylene plastic to protect the object from changes in humidity as it goes from room temperature to freezing and back. Registration creates a log of the box numbers and group names before they are loaded into the freezer. This information is used to catch and correct scanning discrepancies. Boxes for freezing are loaded into an on-site walk-in freezer where they are held at -25 degrees Fahrenheit. After 1 week in the freezer, the boxes are removed and the placement of a frozen sticker indicates that the IPM process is complete. Carts are stored for 24 hours to acclimate before the crate packing process begins. The Move uses the Schuart Industries Kiva modular crates for most of its collection. The system is composed of plastic lids and bases and polypropylene side sleeves. All components can be easily stacked for storage and assembled as needed. The NMAI designed interior components are pre-made and reusable. First, a laminated foam and coroplast base is selected to provide cushion at the bottom of the crate. Crates are assembled by selecting appropriately sized boxes with the same culture and IPM designation. Blue coroplast dividers help to evenly distribute the weight, and on the top, a layer of foam padding is added. A crate label is created with its contents and a crate barcode. This will later be affixed to the crate exterior. The packer scans their name barcode and crate barcode on the label, and then each box contained in the stack. This information will be used for tracking during shipment. The crate sleeve is placed over the stacked boxes and secured to the base by built-in latches. Next, laminated side cushioning is added. After latching the lid in place, the entire unit is additionally secured with yellow polypropylene straps. Crates are stacked to await shipment. Shipments of objects are sent regularly in a climate-controlled, air-ride suspension trailer. All loading is done by museum staff, which helps ensure object safety. A diagram is drawn up for each shipment to pre-assign the placement of all crates and materials that will go on the truck. Stacked crates are moved to the loading dock, where a scissor lift allows them to be easily loaded. Metal load bars are installed to secure the stacked crates in the truck. Single loads are also strapped down. Registration and museum security staff account for each container as it is loaded. Seals and locks are placed on the truck door to ensure security during transit. Once the truck leaves, a copy of the truck manifest is faxed to the CRC so that they can begin to prepare for unloading. Collections Move staff at the Cultural Resources Center are responsible for receiving object shipments from the research branch, then unpacking, rehousing, organizing, and shelving the collections. When the truck arrives at the CRC, staff is prepared in the loading dock with the necessary equipment to safely remove the crates from the truck. As crates are pulled off the truck, registration staff scans them to continue the object tracking process. The crates are taken from the loading dock directly to the collection storage area, where they are organized by culture or geographic region. Registration staff places with each crate a list of the contents. This is used to determine the unpacking order. As crates are opened, the crate label with its barcode is set aside for later scanning when the boxes are unpacked. Cushioning and boxes are then removed. Objects are removed from the box to the workstation, where packing material can be safely removed. The barcode labels are reassociated with the objects, making sure that the catalog number, the object description, and the item count match. They then scan the objects one by one out of their respective boxes and crates. At this stage, objects are examined for evidence of damage that may have occurred during shipping. Additionally, the pest management treatment that was performed is recorded by scanning an IPM barcode. Used packing material is organized for recycling back to the research branch on the next truck. The objects are sorted by culture and placed on multi-tier carts for transport to the rehousing station. All objects receive some form of storage support designed and constructed at the rehousing stations. Rehousing the collection requires a balance of safety, efficiency, access, and aesthetics. The artifact must be as visible and accessible on the shelf as possible. While each object is unique and needs individual fitting, efforts are made to standardize the rehousing mounts. The object should be sufficiently blocked in with foam so that it does not slide or move in the tray. The barcode label is placed in the storage support so that it can be easily seen and scanned. For safety, the mount should pass the shake test. The objects are scanned into the mounting station so that the object tracking continues at every stage to record the current location. The Cultural Resources Center has a combination of open shelving, stationary shelving units, and compactor storage to contain the diverse collection. Storage banks are organized by culture group. Objects are first shelved by material type and then by height to maximize space. The shelvers organize, sort, and shelve collections, rearranging shelving components for greatest space efficiency. Once a group of objects has been shelved, the object barcodes are scanned. This information will be entered into the museum's database to indicate the object's proper storage location. At the end of each day, registration staff upload data from each barcode scanner into the database to create a daily tracking record for all objects unpacked and shelved. They examine the data to identify any scanning problems. This completes object tracking for the purposes of the move. Once a section of the collection has been shelved, registration conducts spot checks on storage locations as a quality control step. This verifies that objects are associated with the correct barcodes and shelving locations in the database are correct. The relocation of the collection has not only resulted in better storage and accessibility, but also provided the opportunity to address numerous outstanding issues. During the move, we identified and resolved registration anomalies, addressed issues of cultural sensitivity relating to museum practices, corrected many conservation needs, and created a complete digital image library of the museum's holdings, all of which set the stage for future work at the Cultural Resources Center. The process you have just seen illustrating the move of one Shipibo carving represents the typical sequence required to move the collection. Obviously, much of the background and detail of these procedures is not addressed here. For more specific information on a variety of related move topics, please see the accompanying video sequences or consult our move manual.